Evening, folks, or afternoon, late afternoon, folks, to a slightly earlier than normal podcast to look ahead to the game at the weekend in the FA Cup and also to have a little look back at what happened yesterday in Leeds win over Cardiff City. As lads say in the chat, smash the like there. Give us a chance to get this out to more people if you can. Good afternoon to Danny. Good afternoon to Gary. And hello to Anthony. I would like us to win this game just to keep the run going. To be honest, I don't care about the FA Cup. I'm right there with you. Also, thanks to Steve Kelly, who has become a new member as well. And I will give you some details on the Leeds 11 stuff, if I remember, before the end of this podcast as well, just to give you some detail on that as well. But as normal, delighted to be joined by my co-host, Andrew Stats Dalton. I get that. It's been a long day, Stats. How are you, mate?
It has, yes. I was in bed quite late as soon as the full-time whistle went. I was up about 5:30, 5:45 this morning. Logging on with work from home and just logged off now, and it's been a very good few weeks really, hasn't it, for Leeds United? They're 14 games unbeaten in all competitions, 13 in the league, top of the league, 5 points clear, 15 goals without concession, and on we go. And yeah, I thought it was a professional performance last night at the CBS Arena. Another 3 points, a tricky game, and we're 15 games away from the return to the promised land, and take a break from that this week, which is good, because I think it's been relentless since sort of Christmas time, and on we go, and to the FA Cup fourth round, home to Millwall for the first time we've ever met in this competition.
Yeah, that's the podcast done, folks. All the best. See you.
See you later. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
As you say, there's times this season, Stats, where it's felt like the season was dragging along. And I know in the first half of the season specifically, I kept just saying, I wish this league was over. I wish this season was over. Can we not just get to the end of this? And then we've got 15 games to go, which will fly in. Like, we're talking maybe, 12 weeks maybe, and the season's done, wrapped for the year. And as you say, hopefully we're in a position where we're going back to the Premier League. As champions are in second, I don't really care as long as we get out and it's not the playoffs. So, but everything seems to be moving quite well. Stats, we'll get into lots of stuff tonight. We'll talk about some of the reaction from last night's game. We'll talk about some of the statistics that came out after the game to show where Leeds are. A bit of Frank Lampard reactionary conversation as well. He wasn't a happy bunny last night. And then we'll get into the Millwall and the FA Cup stuff as well. But we'll start off just talking about last night's game. And I'm okay with it, Stats. I know some people have said it was a 2-0 win. Why am I still not happy? And I think that's a valid enough feeling because of how it went, where it could have very, very easily been a 7-0 game again, which I've only seen once in my lifetime. My father only saw it once in his lifetime. So they don't come around that often. But a bit of self before side last night, Stats, where they could have squared the ball for tap-ins and went themselves, and maybe a little bit of decision-making needs to improve. I think Daniel Farke touched on that after the game as well.
I think it was always difficult after a come down from what was a phenomenal performance against Cardiff City, where everything we touched turned to gold on Saturday afternoon, and it was a wonderful performance. And it's the first time since 1972 since we did Southampton at Ellen Road back in March 72. And funnily enough, the game after that Southampton game was Coventry City, Ellen Road, when 1-1 John Charlton scored. So you're never going to get two games like that. Look, it could have been 7-0 last night. Quaisley did have a host of chances. For me, it was a question of getting the job done, getting the 3 points. Done that, 2 more goals, non-conceded. 2 lovely goals. Joe Pirro took his one really well. He's in his form of his life at Ellen Road at the moment. And Ricky Villa, Jayden Bogle, as Berrad Cross called him yesterday, scored a lovely second goal. And to me, it's the momentum now, isn't it? We got the 3 points, back-to-back victories in the league, which is important after the board draw at Turf Moor. And now we've got a chance to sort of rest the players ahead of what is an important, probably 3 games in the league, 4 games in the league, starting with Watford next Tuesday, Sunderland a biggie on the 17th, then Sheffield United away on the 24th, before potentially West Brom on the 1st, but that depends if we beat Millwall or not. So, yeah, for me, at this stage of the season, it's results, it's imperative. It doesn't matter how you get the results. You can get a victory off somebody's backside, and you might win one in the last minute. It's 3 points, and that's all that matters. We beat Cardiff 7-0 on Saturday. Sheffield United won 1-0 at Derby, still got the same amount of points. It's just keeping that gap from Sheffield United, Sunderland and Burnley. And look, I know we play in the FA Cup this weekend. While I think Sheffield United are in league action. Burnley in the cup, I think, at Southampton. I want to say Middlesbrough in league action. I can't remember if they're still in the cup or not, off the top of my
Check
head.
for you now a sec, yeah.
I know Sheffield United definitely are in action. They've got a game. I'm sure. I want to say they've got Watford. I might be wrong.
Sheffield United have a league game this weekend, so
They
they're
do.
at home to Portsmouth on
Portsmouth, that's
Saturday.
right.
So
I'm
they're
not sure
playing them.
if Sunderland play or not.
Sunderland this
If they're
weekend.
still in the FA Cup.
They lost in the FA Cup. Their
They
next
did,
game,
that's
according
right.
to this, is Watford, 12:30 on the 8th, which
That's
is
what
this
I meant.
Saturday as well.
Sunderland, Watford. So
not straightforward for them either.
yeah, we'll have an eye on them as well. But to me, I'd rather have the points on the board than the games it had. And the games it had just caused a little bit of extra pressure. As we've been there before, we've got those games in hand, and all of a sudden you think you win that game and had you 5 points clear, but it does put extra pressure on you. And I thought it was a very professional display last night. Yes, it could have been 5 or 6. Yes, we've missed some out of chances, but I'd be worrying more if we weren't creating the chances. And lo and behold, win 2-0, job done, away from home against a side that won the last 4. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, I've been critical of some of the style of football this season from Daniel Farke, more risk averse than most. But as I've said recently in previous podcasts, you got to respect the job that's being done, whether you love the football or not. The ends justify the means, and Leeds are top of the pile. And if you look actually at the statistics, Leeds have created 98 big chances this season, which is more than the combined total of Sheffield United and Burnley, which are 2 promotion rivals, which I think says everything about Leeds' season. We are creating chances. We haven't always been finishing them, but it's starting to feel a little bit smoother stats, and it's starting to look a little bit like last year.
Yeah, and you saw the transition in play from defence to attack and how quickly we broke, not only against Coventry, but also against Cardiff as well. Is that Evie, by the way?
That is Evie.
Discuss. Hello, Evie. So, yeah, what can you say? 9 goals in the last 2 games, 15 goals without conceding. Absolutely brilliant. It's starting to come together, and I know fans are a bit nervy about how it ended up last season, but to me it's different. We weren't really top at all that much last season because Leicester was so consistent from the start to the end of the season.
Pop up and pop straight back down.
Yeah, that's right. I know we beat Millwall just before the international break last year to go top, and then after that it just kind of, the March-April international break just kind of killed us, ironically, starting with the Coventry game last season. It feels different this year. It feels like we're getting stronger at just the right time. We've got, as I say, 15 games to go. 8 or 9 wins will take you to the promised land. We're on 66 points, which I mentioned in a tweet last night is absolutely magnificent, and what have you. So
5 more wins, 5 more wins do it.
I think 5 more wins does
mark anyway.
Yeah, I certainly think 5 more wins we're in the playoffs, worst comes to the worst. I know Leeds fans don't like the P word. I absolutely detest the P word because of our record in the playoffs.
We're 20 points ahead of 5th place right now.
Yes.
So I think we're okay for playoffs.
I think, if I'm being really honest, 66 points, I think 8 more wins does it, because that's what, if my mathematics is correct, that takes you to 90 points.
9 points, yeah.
Someone did ask me if we could beat Reading's record of 106 points. You'd have to win virtually every game to do that. We could potentially get to 111 points. I don't think we will. I think we'll lose 1 game somewhere along the lines, or maybe 2. In there, could we break 100 points? Potentially. I think we don't want to get carried away. We're in a magnificent position.
Calm it down.
Yeah.
I said this to Joe earlier on. After we drew at Burnley, we weren't going up. Then we hammer Cardiff and we're going up as champions. Then the transfer window closes and we're not going up. And then we beat an average Coventry side and we're going up as champions again. So I think somewhere in the middle of, we're going the right way.
Yes.
I think it's really important now, Stats, that if we don't have to beat Sheffield United and we don't have to beat Sunderland. We just don't have to lose against them now, which I think is a big, big reliever for Leeds coming into those games. And as you've already touched on, the fact that they're before the international break for me is huge.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's that international break last year that killed us. You looked at the Watford game at Vicarage Road, the Coventry game at the CBS last season, Blackburn at home, Sunderland home, QPR away. That's when the form just sort of hit a little bit of bump in the road. This year, I think after the West Brom game, and look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any teams, we've got on paper, a very comfortable, a very comfortable
Yeah,
running.
it's exactly
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
we are a very reactionary fan base. As you say, 1 minute we're up, next minute we're down,
Yes,
and
that's
having read
correct.
having the comments that I read after the transfer window, we're not saying, oh, we're going to blow this promotion. I was never one of those fans. I was also very content with what done in the transfer window because this team had got to the top of the league on 63 points after 30 games. We then go and beat Coventry very convincingly last night. So it's a very, I don't know if I want to say fickle, but I think every football fan is, because every football fan reacts to it in a certain situation. Had we got beat last night at Coventry, it'd be, oh, the transfer was a disgrace.
Correct.
All of a sudden, you win 2-0 last night, and everyone kind of forgets it and looks forward to the Millwall game, and then looks forward to the next 3 or 4 league games, which, in my opinion, are the biggest league games of the season. Come out of them unbeaten, I think we're in a very good position. Come out of them winning up 4. I think we're on 78 points then before the international break. I think it's then a case of only Leeds can blow it. But yeah, as you rightly said, I think what's important is we can go to the Sunderland game a week on Saturday. A week on Monday. It's in our hands. We can go to Bramall Lane and afford not to win, if that makes sense. We can draw that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. It's all very positive. I'm enjoying it. It's great fun, but I want to get out of this league.
I agree. There's one player I want to talk about a little bit last night, because myself and everybody else dedicated quite a lot of time to criticising Illan Meslier when his mistakes against Hull, and I still say the same thing. We can criticise people all we want for performances. That's absolutely fine unless it crosses the line into abuse and excessive stuff. I think the criticism Meslier has gotten this season from the fans and from his manager are justified. But I think it's also very important that you take time to recognise when the opposite has happened and he's done something on the positive end. Stats, he made 2 saves last night. The first one from Sims' header, which was given the same XG as a penalty.
Yeah.
And he pulls that one out of the corner, channeling his inner Gordon Banks, which is just a wonderful save.
Oh, fantastic.
And then the second one where he just pushes it onto the crossbar. It may have hit the crossbar and come down. He's not to know, gets a hand on it, tips it onto the bar. Excellent performance by him last night. Distribution was good as well. Just want to spend some time talking about Meslier for a sec.
Yeah, and as I've alluded to quite a lot this season, that because you're a goalkeeper and your last line of defence, if you do make a mistake, it's highlighted, isn't it, quite a lot. Now, he's come back a lot stronger. Mentally, he could have gone the other way. Since the whole game has kept 5 clean sheets, which is fantastic, and he's part of a defence that has only conceded 19 goals this season, which is the second best defence in the Championship. Yep. So, look, we all get frustrated with players, whether you're a Leeds fan or you're not, and if something goes wrong, people can be quick to criticise and chastise and look for a scapegoat. Now, Illan Meslier is a very good goalkeeper on his day. We said many a time they were never going to replace him. Daniel's not like that. He's not a kind of reaction manager. If something goes wrong, they're going to replace him straight away. I think it was good that the Harrogate game happened at that time because it allowed Meslier to come out the firing a little bit and then come back against Sheffield Wednesday the following week. And since then, he's not conceded a goal, which is absolutely fantastic. Whether that carries on, the decision remains to be seen. But we don't look like we're going to concede a goal. With you got sort of Rodon and Ampadu at the back, he's been brilliant since he's come back in as well. So yeah, it's all very positive. I thought Illan was fantastic last night and certainly deserves applaudits, and he's part of the team that has got to 66 points after 31 games, and we're in an absolutely magnificent position to kind of go on now and hopefully finish the job. I am very confident we will go and win the league, and as I say, I've said that all season. And I don't think Watford will be a tough test as it was last year. I think they're in a little bit of disarray. There was rumours about Tom Cleverley, and I will talk about that one next week. But I think if you come out of those at least those 3 games, Watford away, Sunderland at home, Sheffield United away, if you don't lose those 2 games, the Sunderland and Sheffield United games, and you've not allowed them to gain points on you, I think we'll be in a fantastic position going into sort of the last 11, 12 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's been said here from Diggler, Farke deserves credit. I don't think anyone's ever really taken credit away from. I think if you can't look at the league position, the amount of goals scored, the amount of records we're clocking up now, and at least not respect the job. Again, I go back to the same thing. You don't have to love it. No one's saying you do. You don't have to be a Daniel Farke fanboy, but you should respect the job that's being done, because we're ahead of last year's total. We're ahead of the Bielsa year's total. We're flying right now. We've only lost 3 games in 31 matches.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be some respect there for the job that is being done. I do agree with what Danny says there, and he's talking to Sean from Wilco Whites. I stay level-headed until it's confirmed. It ain't over till it's
Yes.
over, or as
Yes.
Stifler once said in American Pie, you don't
Yes.
score until you score. So we
Correct.
have to
And
just hold tight.
yeah, I can. We are getting excited because once you get over that last international break in March
Yeah,
time,
it's straight through.
you're literally over into the real business end of the season, and I think we'll be in a brilliant position. Do I want to get 100 points? Of course I do. Do I want to win the league? That's the main point of it, and then we worry about what the summer looks like. But yeah, it's enjoyable. The team's together. Not that they weren't last year, but I also think lessons have been learned from last season. aka the Coventry game. We lost that game last season. This time around, we should have won 7-0. So you can see the lessons being learned, and it'll be very interesting to see what he does. I think he will rotate against the Lions on Saturday afternoon, which not necessarily is a bad thing with the Watford game literally 3 days round the corner.
Yeah, Steve's saying it here as well, Steve Kelly, about this. The boss thinks the dressing room is strong enough. He's going to fail or succeed on his terms. The Don, Marcelo Bielsa, and Wilco were exactly the same. All of them have been called stubborn during their tenures as Leeds United managers. I mean, Daniel Farke, it's now public enough knowledge. Daniel Farke was offered a new goalkeeper after Hull and said no. Now, again, it will depend by the end of the season if that ends up being a good decision, a bad decision, or a decision that really didn't have any influence on the season. So, yeah, but he is very much sticking to his guns and he is going to do it his way. Come hell or high water. Evie, nice to see Farke breaking one of his own bad records in not beating Frank Lampard before last night. Well, it had a smell of John Eustace about it, but luckily that was probably as dominant a Leeds performance as you're going to see. And even with the more defensive-minded midfield pair and stats, we still were constantly an attacking threat. And I totally agree. It was phenomenal last night.
And it's funny because when the team sheet came out 7:15, I read some of the comments and, too defensive, too defensive, too defensive. I trust a manager that's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. He knew what was coming with Coventry. Grove had a really, really good game last night. Rothard just came out the firing line, potentially come back in for the Millwall FA Cup tie. And to get the victory over Frank Lampard, who he probably didn't take it in the greatest of respects at the end of the game. So, brilliant victory away from home, 2-0. First victory at the CBS since November 2010. And I know we're not playing that often. Job done. Done the double over Coventry. What more could you ask?
Yeah, a couple of statistics that came out yesterday, shared by LUFC Data on X. So thanks to LUFC Data. Leeds currently have the best goal difference that we have ever had at this point in a season after 31 games in our entire history. It's plus 43. Club record for an entire campaign is plus 49. That was set by Dick Ray back in 1927-28. A lot less games at that point as well. And the club record, Leeds have conceded just 19 goals in our first 31 league games, the lowest tally at this stage in a season in the club's history. 20 in 31 was the previous best in 1973-74. And as I've already said, Leeds have created 98 big chances this season. Same Sheffield United and Burnley combined together. So defensively and offensively, things are ticking. We're moving well. Stats, his team news coming into this game tonight. Coming into the game at the weekend. No, Pat Bamford, still not back in training, is expecting him back next week, depending on if the end of his rehab work goes well. No news on Isaac Schmidt or what's going on there. We'll talk about team lineups. What do you think Daniel Farke is going to do team-wise? I got your prediction here, and I'll stick it up on the screen.
I think we've had so many games, and it has been quite relentless, and because it's another game with an early kick-off as well. Millwall, I think, played last week at the weekend. That's sort of my lineup that I've gone there. I think Darlow will possibly start in goal. I think Darlow number 26, I believe.
I have one there.
Yeah, from Bellier. Do love the graphics, absolutely love the graphics. I've gone with Byron Schmidt, Stewart, Verber. I think that kind of, for me, picks itself. And you look at the players that you do have on the bench that can come straight back into the first team. Is we can probably rest players, and I think with the Watford game so close to the Millwall game, it'd be interesting to see what he does do. Now, the only player I've kept in is Brendan Aronson. That may change. I'm just struggling to kind of see what other options we have got there as a number 10. I do think he'll swap his wingers. I think Ramazan and Nonto will come in for Solomon and Don James, and I think Mateo Joseph, who got the goal against Cardiff at the weekend, will probably come in for Joe Pirou. So yeah, and you've got the options there with Joshua Giavogi and Joe Rothwell coming in for Ethan Purdue and Ao Tanaka. So it's interesting. Look, I might be completely wrong, but I do think that he will make quite a lot of changes. I think had Pat Bamford been fit, I think you'd have seen Joseph in the number 10 role and probably Bamford up top. We haven't got that to choose from. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does do. I think there will be quite a lot of changes just to freshen up a little bit, just to give players a rest ahead of a big game at Vicarage Road on Tuesday night, because to me the FA Cup's great. It has lost a bit of value, and I said that pre-Harrogate. Do I want to win the game? Yes. Is it going to be detrimental to our season if we don't? I don't think it will be, because I think the momentum we've got in the league and the confidence we've got in the league, every time we go out in the league, I expect Leeds to go and win the game. So that's not a bad shout. Schmidt at 10, why not? It's a possibility. I'm sure Junior Firpo's played 10 for Dominican Republic. So
he has played every single game as the 10 for the Dominican Republic.
So yeah, you never know. So yeah, let's see. Looking forward to it. It's an early kick-off. It's an opportunity to get into the 5th round. Funnily enough, we haven't reached the 5th round in 3 consecutive seasons since the year 2000, which is absolutely incredible. Obviously, we reached it in 2023, knocked out by Fulham. Last season, knocked out by Chelsea. This year, we're aiming to get it for the 3rd year since the year 2000. Our FA Cup run is pretty poor, and we've never really been a cup team. And to say a club of Leeds United stature has only won the FA Cup once, 1972, 53 years ago, is quite incredible. And we've only been to the cup final since then, once since Sunderland. And off the top of my head, we've only got to the quarter-finals. And I might be wrong in saying this. I think the last time we got to the quarterfinals was 2003 against Sheffield United. I could be wrong. That's literally just off the top of my head. So, a cup run's great. However, when you're in the position that Leeds are in, and I go back to when Ipswich lost against Maidstone last season, I think they lost in the 4th round. It's not going to kill the season. Ipswich went up and won promotion last season. Yeah, I want to win the game, of course I do. But if you offered me the opportunity to win the Millwall game or potentially win the Watford game, I'd rather win the Watford game and get another 3 points, get to 69 points.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with you. At the same time, I don't care if we leave the cup in this round either, because I would rather us focused on the end goal rather than having the split focus. But I also understand that the need for momentum as well. But I think if you make the amount of changes we're looking at, then technically the team that comes back in won't have lost, because it's a very different looking team.
Exactly, and they'll be fresh for the game against Watford. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Fark could joke today saying that we could win the cup. You never know. But unlikely. So let's just get out of it and move on and go and win the league, because Sheffield United don't have the FA Cup to worry about, and it's just going to mean a game congestion for Leeds, and we don't really need that, although I think our squad is able to cope with this year. Agreed stats. Prem Ward bound is prime. Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, if we do win on Saturday lunchtime, the West Brom game at home will then get moved, because that'll be 5th round day. So it then can kind of have a bit of a knock-on effect with fixtures. Obviously, I don't know when that'll be moved if we were to win. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Yes, you won in every game. Of course you do. Do I think Leeds will win the FA Cup? No. It'd be great. Don't get me wrong, after 53 years. But there's teams in the Premier League. You look at your likes of Liverpool, Manchester City are still in there, Chelsea are still in there as well. Newcastle, who got to Wembley last night, still in there. Tottenham, for all their faults this season, who play tonight in the Carabao Cup second leg against Liverpool, are still in there. Eventually, you come to a point where you do get a Premier League club, and it'd be good to see where we are. Because I thought we gave Chelsea a good game last season, albeit it was sort of Chelsea's second team. I don't think it'd be detrimental to our league form.
No, I don't think so. Happy birthday, Ness.
Happy birthday, Ness.
Happy birthday, Ness. That's there on the screen. Yeah, I agree with you. Just real quick, slight deviation from what we're talking about, just real quickly. I do want to just promote a little bit. The guys at Legends 11, Steve Kelly in the chat knows all about this, but there is a Leeds Legends game happening in Bray, County Wicklow, Ireland on May 10th, but on the 21st of February, and if you want to scan this QR code, you can. There is an evening Q&A with Stuart Dallas and Ian Hart, hosted by Matthew Kilgallen. in the Talbot Hotel in Dublin. If you're around on 21st, if you want to get tickets, there are still some tickets available for that. Go check it out. I'm going to try and get to that. It's a chance to listen to Stuart Dallas and Ian Hart talk about their Leeds United careers. And apparently, I've been told you might get some Ireland Saipan 2002 rumours from Ian Hart after what happened with Roy Keane over there.
Absolutely.
So that's going on. So you can scan that QR code if you want to. I'll leave it there for a couple of seconds. There is then also the Legends game that's taking place in Bray, which is just outside of Dublin, just south of Dublin in County Wicklow. Easy to get to from Dublin city centre. And we've got Ian Hart, Michael Bridges, Andy Cousins, Ross McCormack, Matt Kilgallen are all confirmed so far to be playing in that game. It will be managed by Mel Sterling and Paul Reaney, the lead side of it, against the Borough Legends, which are a group of lads from the south side of Dublin as well. That is the details for Ian Hart and the Legends conversation right there. But you can check all the stuff out on the Leeds 11. You'll find them on Facebook as well, the Borough Legends. You can check out details there as well. But yeah, very worthwhile going and checking out if you want to. So, stats moving back to Millwall. Yes. Where's your head at coming into the game? Millwall currently this season, they're sitting 14th in the league. They've got 10 wins in their 30 games so far. They're averaging 1 goal a game, 30 goals in their 30 games, conceded 27 and 30. Away from home, they've only won 3 times in 14 games, but they have only lost 4 as well. They draw quite a lot away from home. What do you expect coming into this game from them?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because of the cramming of the fixtures, and I do expect Daniel Farke to make quite a lot of changes. I think it'll be probably a tight game. It could potentially go all the way to penalties because there's no replays. And then who knows after that? Obviously, it depends on what Alex Neil does. He's come in. It'll quite surprising to see Neil Harris go. But it could be a real nippy game on Saturday lunchtime. I don't know where Millwall are midweek, because they'll have a midweek game as well. So it depends what Alex Neil does with his team selection. But I think that they kept Tanganga over the January transfer window, which I think is an important player. He's done really well at the Den for them this season. It's never an easy game against Millwall. Obviously, we lost at the New Den back in November. So I think a lot depends on team selection, and you kind of saw against Harrogate it was a little bit disjointed because those players hadn't played together before. It might be the same against Millwall. I don't think it'll be a fast, free-flowing game because of the selection. And Daniel's even said today in his pre-match press conference, he's likely to rotate the team. So it's really a hard one to sort of gather. But again, it's a home game. Do I expect Leeds to win at home? Yes, I think the home record's been absolutely fantastic this season. And get a place in the last 16, which will be brilliant, and then see what the draw brings on. I think it's on Sunday evening as always. So yeah, there's no replays now, Anthony. They've scrapped all replays, so the tie will be decided on Saturday evening if it does go that far. And I don't think we've ever had a penalty shootout on a Saturday off the top of my head.
So that's I can remember. I don't want that either.
What I can remember.
Because then I'll start caring about the game when it goes to pens. Then I'm like, well, I don't want to lose on penalties.
I don't want to lose on penalties. Yeah. So we've not had too many penalty shootouts in the FA Cup actually at Ellen Road. I think we had one against Wigan back in 2006 when Gary Kelly got an absolutely screamer of a goal from the edge of the area.
Speaking of Irish lads that have scored and Gary Kelly's nephew, the question's been asked. Diggler says Ian Hart scored 39 goals for Leeds. Do you know how many goals Ian Hart scored for Leeds?
Off the top of my head, I think it's around about 39. He's certainly up. I think over 250 odd appearances as well, and he was, I think, before James Ward-Prowse took over, the second most highest free kick taker in the Premier League after David Beckham. But I know Beckham was brilliant, was he, back in the day with his free kicks?
I think Hart had a better average though than Beckham of goals per free kick. He was more accurate.
And some of the free kicks that Ian Hart scored was absolutely magnificent. And I remember the free kicks, I think, against Man United in defeat against Man United in 2002, that he scored an absolutely fantastic free kick. And at the back end of the 2001 season, he was scoring free kicks for fun. So Dorigo only scored, now you're testing me, I want to say Dorigo only scored 4 or 5 goals for Leeds. I know we got one against Man City, Norwich City, Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, and he got one against Southampton. I want to say Dorigo scored 4 or 5, and that is completely off the top of my head.
It's scary when I watch you go into your head to pull it.
It's just literally, I know we got penalty against
Ipswich. I know exactly what's happening. It's all Been processed. Yeah.
It's very difficult to pick how many goals off the top of my head. We've had over 850 odd players that have played for the club, so it's quite difficult to remember each player. I think Ian Hart scored about 39 goals. Again, that's the top of my head, and he, as I said, he had a wond of a left foot. I just think defensively,
Spain as well. Before he went to Reading and made a decent career at Reading as a centre back. So good.
Ian Hart, what did I say? 39.
39, yeah.
He scored 39 goals for Leeds. Off the top of my head, that's correct.
Also,
I think Garrigo got 6.
Digler said that as well. 39 according to Wiki. So yeah. Great. How many goals did Yeboah score? We'll be here all night doing this, folks. You got a few.
Yeboah got 33 and 66. I think.
One goal every second game. That's exactly what you want. What a player. What a shame. I keep saying it about Yeboah. I have a video, a VHS of Yeboah at the first season.
I've got it somewhere,
In the video, he says that he's the kind of player that doesn't look like he's trying when you watch training, but he comes alive in matches. And then when George Graham made the decision to get rid of him, Graham's reasoning for it was he's not putting the effort in training. You're like, go watch the video. Go watch the video.
Yeah, he could just turn on the 6th. You saw his goals. And we could be here all day. The goals against Liverpool, Wimbledon and Monaco. But that's a show for another day.
It is, we'll get to that. And we are doing a St. Pat's stream as well. Oh, sorry, St. Pat's? No, we're not doing St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, yes.
St. Patrick's Day stream as well, which is going to be
And on that, I was very lucky to see Nicky Byrne on Saturday lunchtime at Allen Road on Saturday. So I had a really good chat with him about the old days and reminiscing. And fingers crossed we'll try to get him on the show for that one.
Yeah, we have to contact Nicky to see if he'll come on, but initial nod to a yes, so it'll be an all-Irish affair with Stats because he is the man that knows all the information about Stoke. Stats is an honorary Irishman for that day, so St. Patrick's.
Thank you. I'll take that one.
We are going to bring in other Leeds United content creators as well that are from an Irish background as well to try and make it as an all-Irish affair as we can for the one day of the year. And then when St. George's Day, I'll let Stats host it, I'll leave, and then you can just bring all the UK guys in and have a lovely chat about St. George's Day. That works perfectly for everybody. Right, folks, I think we're going to wrap it up there. There will be news in the morning. Tomorrow is Friday. And then I will probably get the warm-up out Friday night. So you've got that for Saturday morning, which will be all the data and form guides leading into the game and team news from both sides that you'll need to get. So that's massive thank you. Oh, sorry. Nicky Byrne, our ex-21 keeper. I clarify this for everyone. Nicky Byrne, the FA Youth Cup winning Leeds United under-18 goalkeeper in that really good team that had O'Leary's babies pretty much across it.
Yes.
What about St. David's Day? Tell me the date. Tell me the country, and I'll start
Wales.
For you.
Yeah,
Wales. Oh, yes. Easy. We get that. We get Dan James, Joe Road, and we bring Connor Roberts.
If we could, we would.
Wouldn't we just? Right, we'll wrap it up there, folks. Massive thanks as always. That's been a pleasure as always, mate. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon. See you. Bye.